Okay, I want to tell you a story about a time when I experienced wish fulfillment, when I got something that I wished for on my birthday. And it made me realize that we really do get wish fulfillment on our birthday. There's a reason why we associate wish fulfillment to our birthday, right? There's a reason why we say make a wish before you blow out the candles on your cake, right? We know intuitively, kind of subconsciously, that wish fulfillment is possible on our birthday, okay? So, I want to tell you about this because if we don't know to look for it, we might miss it, right? It's like, anything. If I tell you to go outside and look for red Volkswagens, all of a sudden you're going to see red Volkswagens everywhere, right? Because you're paying attention to that. It's the same with our lives, our whole lives, in fact. It's what we give our focus to. That's what we perceive and receive. So I want to tell you about my story so that you can use it as an example of focusing on wish fulfillment for yourself on the day of your birthday. See, on the day of your birthday, you're back in the same energy pattern as you were when you were born, indicated by your cards to play. These cards that symbolize the energy patterns of life. So you are now in alignment, in attunement with your native energy frequency, let's say. And there is a synchronicity, connection that happens in that moment, in that day, really, the whole day. There's a connection point, and that opens a portal. There's an opening, and there's a possibility that emerges for wish fulfillment. Okay, so here's my story of my experience of that. This was a few years ago. A friend was telling or was asking what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I happened to see that the US Open was in town. I live in New York City, and my birthday is August 30th. So, US Open, tennis. And I thought, I've never ever been to the US Open. I've never been to Wimbledon or French Open or any of the others. And I grew up playing tennis in Florida. I was a die-hard tennis player. That was my sport. Played high school, I played junior tournaments. I was ranked in the state of Florida. My senior year, we finished third in the state championships in tennis in the state of Florida, mind you, which is tennis playing state. My best friend from high school went to college on a tennis scholarship. I was a tennis player. Uh, and I'd never been to any of the big matches. So I thought, wow, US Open, that would be an amazing birthday present. So we go, right? It was an amazing gift. And we're there, and I'm thrilled. I'm walking around, I'm like, wow, the US Open. We have some food, I have a couple glasses of champagne. Next thing I know, I'm in the main stadium, and there's energy, there's a pulse, right, of all the people, and I suddenly realize I'm in a big place with a lot of drunken New Yorkers. I'm like, okay, right, I'm feeling the vibe, feeling the energy, and by now I feel like a New Yorker. I've been living in New York for long enough that I self-identify as a New Yorker. Hey, bada bing, what are you gonna do? So I'm sitting there, and Venus Williams is playing. It's an early round match, but there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of buzz in the air. And it's getting near the end of the match. And there's this, palpable excitement that's building in the audience, and people like shouting out, "Come on, Venus!" Like cheering. And, I was brought back to my boyhood memories of watching all the biggies, US Open, Wimbledon, all of them. I used to watch all of them. And I was brought back to memories of when I would be watching and near match point, and there's a lot of tension, and suddenly someone shouts out, "Come on!" really loud, and breaks the silence, and then the umpire has to say, quiet please, right? And I was always fascinated by that, truly. Like, wow, who does that? Who is that person that shouts out in the match point and breaks the silence. You know, who does that? I was I was just fascinated by that and wondering about that. And this memory came back to me while I'm sitting there at the U.S. Open, and it's getting near match point. I'm like, "Whoa, what's?" And hear people like, and there's some muffled cheers here and there, and muffled, "Come on, Venus." My heart's pounding. I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna do this," and I shouted out, "Come on, Venus!" It's really loud, and the people in front of me were startled and jumped like, "What?" and turned around and looked at me. And then the umpire like, "Quiet, please, quiet, please." And my friend's laughing, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I really did it!" And Venus served and won the match, and that was amazing. And then afterwards, I didn't sink in until afterwards. I was like, "Oh, that was always a wish that I had. I always wished to do that, to call out at match point and shout for my favorite player." At the time, anyway, it's not like Venus was my favorite player of all time, but in the match, I wanted her to win. So it was a big realization for me. Like, wow, it was a wish that I had always wanted. It was something I always wanted to do. Silly as it was, trivial as it is, it was a wish fulfillment from my boyhood days. And that was my first example when I was aware that we could have a wish fulfillment on our birthday, that there was an alignment and there was an opening and a possibility to receive a wish fulfillment. And afterwards, I felt complete. There was a wholeness that I felt, like I had completed something. And there was a real sense of satisfaction that I had in having done that and completed that wish. So I'm telling you this story because I hope for you that you pay attention on your birthday, really pay attention, and look for a wish fulfillment possibility for yourself. And it might surprise you because I'd forgotten about mine. I really had. It was a long time ago, when I was a little boy that I had that wish. I'd forgotten. But I knew enough to at least pay attention to the possibility of a wish fulfillment. So I was open to it. And when it arose, I noticed it and remembered it and acted on it. Right? We have free will. So we can choose to not take action if we choose to. Right? Or we can choose to act and receive, seek and find, like this. So I encourage you to look for a wish fulfillment on your birthday. You might be really pleasantly surprised by what you receive. All right, give it a try. Take a look. Breathe in and receive a wish fulfillment in your own life. Happy birthday. Have a wonderful birthday. Enjoy your birthday, and may you receive exactly what is right for you to receive.